Hi everyone, Andrei from ChromeFX Films here, and this is part 3 of my 2D game development tutorial series. In the last video, we left off creating our character and animating him, and now we are going to program it. So what you want to do is in your main folder over here in the project tab, right click, create, and press folder. So now we're going to name this scripts. Right click in that folder, and we're going to create a JavaScript. We're going to call this move. So you can open up the script by double clicking it. All right, and here we are. So this is what you're going to get when you first open it up. And we're going to add to this. So we're going to start by creating a few variables. If you hit enter, it will start a new line. This is going to be a public variable, which means that we can have other scripts in the game access and talk to each other. We're going to call this speed. All right. We're going to create another. This is going to be axis name. We're going to use horizontal for now. And the reason I'm choosing horizontal is that string can say anything. Technically, I can leave it blank, because that means that while I'm telling the game to talk to a certain joystick or an axis, can be left and right, A and D, the arrow keys, or the analog stick on a controller, having it as a string means that I can input the name myself, and that name, if it's matching one of the names in the input that we can find here, let me go to Unity really quick. Up here, edit, project settings, and input, you'll see this input manager come up here. And this is what we're looking at right here, horizontal. You can set, you can add some input options by changing the size here. But we're going to be talking to horizontal, which is going to work for the left and right movement. So we'll go back to the script. And we have that. Now, this is going to be, we're going to call this anim. And this is going to be animator. The animator is what's going to allow our character to animate. So we have to assign that object and tell the script to talk to that animation so we can actually have our character moving. It's going to be a jump button. And we'll make this space. Jump power, this is how high we want to jump. Let's say, all right. And a private variable, which means we can't access it through the editor, but only through code. We're going to call this can jump. So this means can is jumping enabled. So for example, if you're already in the air, you don't want to jump, so it'll disable jumping while you're not touching the ground. All right, so in function start, so this is going to start as soon as you load up the game. This is the first thing that the code's going to look at. So we're going to assign the animation variable to the game object of the player. There you go. So now it knows what it's looking for. Function update, we are going to use one line of code that will make our player move left and right. So this is going to be transform.position typo right. We're going to multiply this by, multiplying is basically the same as every time we use this symbol, it will add that to its command. So it's checking if we're moving and we're holding down a joystick or a button, and it's calculating for the speed and time relative to Unity's time. All that will be taken into effect, and that will indicate the direction and how the player is going to move. So this is where we're getting the axis, and now this is where we can call our axis name. So that's basically, it's calling this, but this is talking to this line right here. So we can say, if we wanted to talk to the, still here, yeah, if we want to talk to the vertical, then we can talk to the vertical. If we want to talk to the horizontal, we can talk to the horizontal. But we'll assign that in the editor. Gotta multiply it by speed and relative time, so it's not moving at the speed of light. Alright, so now our player should move left and right. But we're not going to test it yet since our player can't actually move. In order for it to move and interact with the world in a physics space, you need to have a collider and a rigid body. So we're going to minimize the code. Up here in the editor, select the player. We want to add a component. We're going to search for box collider, and there you go. We're going to add box collider 2D. All right. So it's a little small, so we'll readjust the size to make sure it's close enough. There you go. And we're going to add a rigid body. So now the object will now be affected by gravity. But he has no floor, so let's add a floor really quick. All right, it's good enough. So we're going to add a collider on this one. And I'm going to make it very wide so it covers the three of them. So we don't need to use 3 colliders. So now, let's reposition the camera. Oh, back to 2D. And if we play, the character should fall. Oh, we have an error. Oh, I'm calling the script move because I already have a move script in this program that I wrote previously. Okay, so let's rename the script. Instead of move, we're going to call this move player. All right. And we have another error. Where is this error? All right, all fixed. This string had to be capitalized, and it was still thinking that I had another script up here called move. This is from my demo project, which we're not looking at right now. So now if we play the game, the character should fall onto the crates. Excellent. As you can see, he's animated. And if we move left and right, nothing happens. We haven't set the variables, of course. And we haven't added the script. Of course, yes, it helps to add the script to the object. So let's click Move Player, and we'll drag it into the inspector area. Here we go. So now this animator is going to be set, but the axis name, horizontal. And let's see how fast speed 1 is. I'm not sure. Jumped button. I misspelled jump. Fix that. Alright, and now if we play, the character should move. Excellent. Alright, a little slow, but it's working. So we'll change it to 3. Alright, I like that. Let me extend this space. Give the player more room to walk. So now we're going to add the animations. So the first thing we're going to do here, this is a little bit longer process because you have to compensate for the direction of the player. Now I don't have the eye attached, although I do, so I'll show you why it's not showing up. The eye is there, but its sorting layer is not correct. I'm going to set the sorting layer to character, and I'm going to set the order in the layer to 1, which means that it's going to appear in front of everything else. Make sure the body is 0, and actually we'll set the order in layer to -1 so the feet always appear behind the body. Alright, looks good. And you want the player, whenever he's turning left and right, to make sure that his body faces the correct direction. So that's what we're going to assign right now in the script. So we're going to create a variable under function update. We're going to call this new scale. And this is going to be vector 3. Oh. So here we're going to set this line of code, we're going to use set float. This is where we're talking to the variable, the float variable in the animator that we set in the last episode. There was the walk and the jump. So we're going to access the walk. Input.get access and access name. Close it up. And what this is saying is, depending on the value of the walk variable, whether it's 1 or -1, the walk animation is going to play. All right, so we're going to create now the if statements that are going to flip the player according to the direction that the player is moving. So if the axis name is less than 0, so less than, if the player is moving to the left, so we're going to set the new scale variable to the scale of the player. So we're going to set the x-axis of the object to -1. So it's going to flip to a size of -1 on the x-axis. Right. We're going to copy and paste this. Make this a else if statement. So if it's not doing this, else do this. So if it's not doing this, then it must be doing this. If this is greater than 1, change it to positive, and that's it. Now we can jump if pressing the jump button, and you can jump set the float variable for jump to 1, which is the same as true. And now we want to tell our player to jump. Add force, and you can only use add force on objects with rigid bodies attached to them. It's going to move up and multiply it by the jump power. Excellent. There you go. And that should be all we need. So let's go back to the scene. There's no errors. That's a good sign. Let's see how this works. Excellent. Let's see what happens when we jump. Excellent. Okay. So he jumps once and the variable stops. Well, first of all, he's jumping very high. So let's fix the jump power to about 600. Oh, that's right. We have to set the variable for jump to 0 again once he touches the ground. So we're going to create a new function here. So this is when the collider comes in contact with an object. We want it to change its value. So, oh, that's supposed to be, sometimes it finishes the variables for you. Let's see, we're going to call this ground. We'll set the tag in a second on the game object. Then we, oh no, what am I doing? We don't want to close it. If its tag is ground, then we want to set its float variable. Jump to 0. And can jump equals true. So I have to set it up here. If we are jumping, we should set the can jump variable to false, so you can not jump while you're in midair. All right, now if we go back and, oh, there's an error. double equals. And there is a, okay, of course, this should have the tag of ground. As you can see, I have this tag already because I set it for my other demo project. But in case it wasn't there, to add one, you would click this add tag button, and then you would just enter the name as an element. So let's set it as ground. And now it should work. All right, excellent. We now have a fully functioning player. So now we have a player that moves, but we don't have a camera that follows. So we're going to create a new script, and we're going to call this cam follow. And let's open that up. All right, so we're going to create a variable up here. All right. And damp time is going to be relative to the time inside Unity and the way that it measures it. And I will explain what that does, but I'd rather you just see it. All right. We don't need function start. All right, and now we're going to say if there is an object to follow, this is the point at which the camera that this script is going to be attached to is going to be following in the game view. Sometimes it auto finishes and it's very annoying. This one's going to be very similar. All right, so let's see if I have any errors. Yes, I do. Where is the error? Oh, the Z should just be 0. It should say Z, not 0. All right, excellent. And so now this transformed opposition is talking to the camera or the object that this script is attached to. We want this to smoothly make its position at the destination, which is where the camera is moving to, and calculate for the speed at which it follows and its relative time. That should work. So let's add the cam follow to the main camera. Let's set the target as the player, and now if we play, there you go. Now the camera follows our player. So let's just add something very quick here. I'm going to extend this level. Oh, that's right, I forgot. So that's also something to remember. Your player, since he's a physical object, he can rotate and fall over, but yet the script is still interacting with him according to his relative position and rotation. So over here we can fix that by pressing this fixed angle option, so he will no longer rotate. And there you go. sure this object is tagged. And let's increase his jump height and his speed. I'm trying to make sure his feet are moving realistically on the ground, not sliding. There you go. That's pretty close. And there you have it. There's your basic character controller. In the next video, I'll be covering actions and triggers so you can attack enemies or fire objects, activate buttons, and some other features. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.